Okay, gentlemen, here we are for another edition of the Roundtable Talk. How are you guys doing?
Hey, doing good, guys. How you doing? Good to see everybody.
Doing real well.
We got Chuckster as a return guest, but we got a new guy here, Carl. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great.
So who are you on social media? Like what? How do people know you?
On Twitter, you can find me at I'm Chef Carl. I am a real life chef. Well, I'm an out of work chef right now because COVID just has just destroyed our industry.
Yeah.
And I mean that's the easiest way to find me on Twitter. Of course, if you are Facebooking, I'm Carl Tilley, and we'll probably have a New Orleans Saint picture if you ever want a friend request me because growing up south of I-10. That's how hour outside New Orleans. That's kind of how we are. So who dat?
I love New Orleans. I used to do the Wizard World show every year there.
Oh yeah, great. That's a great show.
Love doing that. Last time I was there was with Lita and Ernie Hudson.
That's a good combination.
Ernie Hudson and Luke Gossett Jr. I think.
Okay.
Wow.
We had those three guys
Cool.
and gals. But so a little bit about yourself, Carl. So I guess everybody knows Chuckster here, man. This guy's world famous. But for you, I mean, collecting wise, how long you been collecting? What's your specialty?
I first started collecting in 1977, and the first packs of cards I ever bought were actually Star Wars Series 1.
Nice.
A little mom and pop shop across from where my dad worked, and that kind of got me hooked. And I ended up buying some stuff at a church yard sale with baseball and football and wrestling. I've been a wrestling fan since the early 70s. Grew up in North Carolina originally. So, I got exposed to Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. And at the time, as a kid, anything that was on cardboard, whether it be baseball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, Grease, Charlie's Angels, didn't matter. Whatever it was, if it was on cardboard, I was interested. I mean, I was hooked immediately.
So everything trading card was you, like sports and non-sports?
Yes. I'm a little bit of everything. Even to this day, I'm a little bit of everything. Specialties, if I really we're going to see what am I focused on in the sports world, it's mainly stuff that I've players that I really like. As a kid, I was a huge Pittsburgh Pirate fan. Willie Stargell, Dave
Stargell,
Park, I was gonna say. Stargell's my favorite player of any sport of all time, and God love him. He was incredible. I do dabble a little bit in NASCAR, but my favorite driver, Tony Stewart's retired, so I'm kind of out of that game. In wrestling, my focus has gotten a little weird. My main focus and my favorite set of all time is still the 1988 Wonderama. I actually bought that and completed that buying packs. Back in '88.
Wow.
And I've got a weird story about that, which we don't have time for because it will literally take 3 hours. I like that.
It's a big set, so why? Of course.
Yeah, and it was a pain in the butt to complete, but I completed it. That's something I'm very interested in. My other part of my focus right now is a lot of the exhibit cards back from the 50s, 60s. Mm-hmm. I've gotten a real just really started getting drawn to that as more and more about the history of wrestling. Whether it be Gorgeous George or Hardboiled Haggerty or some of those guys, finding cards of them to me was just as exciting as opening up a brand new pack because I don't really. I
got a sports card shop that I down the street from me that actually has a stack of those boardwalk cards.
Really?
Yeah. It's 3D Sports Cards is the name of the place.
Yeah, you've talked about them before.
Yep. They usually are kind enough to donate a box to me. It's like that once in a while. And cool. I'm going to go over there tomorrow. As a matter of fact, he bought a Funko Pop of Kevin Nash off of me, and I got to go drop it off tomorrow.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, they have a stack there. I can go through them and I'll take some pictures and send them to you and see if anybody is interested. Yeah,
please do. But yeah, that's kind of my interest right now, and I'm starting to get some oddball stuff. Hold on, actually, get it with me. So I'm a huge women's wrestling fan. Have been for a long time, even going back to like Wendy Richter, folks like that, Lalani Kai, all that. that first WrestleMania to me, in some ways, that was even more important than the Hogan Mr. T thing. But big fan of Rachel Ellering because I was a big fan of the Road Warriors and her dad, Precious Paul.
Sure.
And one of the neatest things that I've gotten here recently, and let me take this out of the holder because it's gonna glare all over the place. Well, I don't know if familiar you guys are with Gummy Arts.
Mm-hmm.
She apparently did some deal with them where she was able to print her card, and there's only 25 of them.
Wow.
Signs the back, hand numbered.
Okay.
This is actually number 425. I think she actually still has a couple left. So if you follow her on Twitter, if you don't follow her on Twitter, check her out. She might be able to hook you guys up with those.
Better jump on that, Chuckster.
But anyway, and she's a sweetheart. Without getting too much, and don't say this to brag, but I'm real good friends with Luke Hawks, who runs Wildcat Sports down in New Orleans.
Okay.
We're good buddies because when I lived down there, and I actually sponsored her. I actually paid for her to come in at the WrestleCon. The last one that was down in New Orleans, I actually paid for her to come in and.
Oh, so you got a booth there.
No. I paid money for her to wrestle in the match.
Oh, gotcha.
Wildcat, I actually paid for her to be there.
Gotcha.
So I'm a huge fan of hers. But stuff like this to me it's neat. It's different. You can't buy this in a pack.
Nope.
You can only buy it from her. And I mean, like I said, it has kind of the special memory because
you can't buy this in a pack, just so you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm waiting on that stimulus check, brother.
Mine got deposited today.
We're waiting.
Last week, I've got mine too.
I think ours is pending. But the point being, I like things like that are different. I've been also tracking out some Japanese cards of some folks. Really enjoying it, like some of the Shimmer stuff and Stardom.
I had so much of that stuff. About a year and a half ago, year and a half, 2 years ago, less than 2 years. I listed a whole bunch of that on eBay, autographs. I had a bunch of them. I had that Carrie Sane, whatever it's like that. I had that dual autograph with her and someone else. And I got them all because when we were in SoCal, they came to SoCal to do a tour there. And I had Melina booked for as a special referee for a couple of those events.
She's a sweetheart, by the way.
Yes, very much so.
Very nice.
And they left about 30, 40 packs left over just sitting there at the store. And they said, "Oh, you can have them." So I cracked them all open. I was like, almost every pack had an autograph. I still have a few autographs left of something. What the hell's her name? Kong. She's a big girl. It's like that really big.
Yeah. Asia Kong?
No.
No, not Asia.
Nope. It's I have to look it up. So it's in a box. I came unprepared for this. But yeah, I mean, do you do any modern stuff at all though?
I picked up a couple blasters because living in Northeast Alabama, we don't have a lot of options for card shops per se. I mean, I picked up a couple of blasters of Chrome. I picked up a couple of Finest just to kind of see what was out there. For a while there, I was collecting almost anything and everything again that came out. But unfortunately, and I'm not trying to be overly critical of Topps, but a lot of their product, they are using the same dang picture of the same person over and over. And it was like, there's no interest in that.
Yeah. It's overproduced.
Every set's so repetitive. You can buy one set a year and have the same and have everything for the year.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of gave up on Topps a little bit. I still do the Topps Now stuff, but they're wide releases. I'm backing off of, and I'm heading more for the indie stuff.
Yeah. To me, that's kind of the way to go. Because again, I think that not only can you get people who are quote unquote up and coming, but especially I think what's going to happen in the wrestling industry in general, and I could be wrong, and I've been wrong before. But they say wrestling is very I don't say this word cycles a lot. It comes with a lot of cycles. I think the day is going to come where when you look at the success, right or wrong, where you like the product or not, that AEW has had, you look at some of the other independents that are making a kind of a go at things. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but they're staying local. They're staying, in their small area of influence, if you will. And I think we're going to see more and more of that growing in the next few years. And I think as that happens, it's going to be, it may not be a case where, okay, well, and I'm just making up a name here, Leapin' Freddy or whatever, Fantastic Freddy, who was over in Southern California. Well, maybe now he's in Texas And maybe, if you're someone who's local to Texas, hey, I've got that, Leaping Freddy card when he was wherever.
I think what happens now too, a lot of independents is trading cards. When you connect these two, is that trading cards is a very low cost way to advertise for your local promotions like that.
Absolutely.
So not only are you, because we live in a world now where technology has made things so much readily available, you can actually print trading cards, put them on your website, promote them through social media, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's this little such and such over there in Alabama that I never heard of like that, but it's got some cards. They're cards. I'm a card collector. I'm going to buy them.
Exactly.
Now you bought.
And the nice thing about the independent leagues putting out sets right now is for old school guys like me who were completists for years. Parallels has killed being a completist. You just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
But an independent set, you can. They put out the set, you buy the set, one and done. You've got a set. You've completed it.
I mean, at best or at worst, you're going to have to buy like a couple chase cards or an exclusive autograph card, something like that. That's about it. But for the most part, I don't have to worry about 9 levels of parallel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's what Topps does. I mean, they just
you laugh, but that's what the last release was. The last release was Finest is got 9 levels.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. I mean, you look at the fact that even if you're just I'm only going to be focused. Let's just say on Charlotte Flair, just to have someone who's well, okay, you got her base card, then you got her regular parallel, and then there's the green parallel, and then there's the numbered, and then there's the shiny one, then there's the not so shiny, and then there's the black.
That's if you're going to be a completist, but if you just want, you're a Charlotte Flair fan, it's something you focus on. It's a hell of a lot easier to go after, say, Charlotte Flair than have to go after WWE Finest.
But the problem is nowadays almost every set has got the one of ones.
True.
And you got the printing plates, and some of those, and some guys are that, and gals for that matter, are that focused that it'll take something that, let's just say normally would be $100 card, and because it's a one of one, and you got 2 super collectors going after each other, that $100 card is now a $500 card.
Hey,
which is great if you're selling it.
God bless America, man.
But God help you if you're the other super collector.
That's right.
Then you're screwed.
So, speaking of, let's segue then from the independent stuff and cards. I think it's kind of important for why WTC is coming back and going to be getting updated slab, because as I've mentioned before on some previous episodes here, the grading companies are rejecting some cards because there's no way to authenticate these cards.
Right.
And because we have technology, which I don't want to get in this aspect of talking about what I used to call, or I still kind of call them bootleg cards, because we have licensing rights and licensing issues like that. It's a whole topic for something else that I actually have planned coming up. You have companies that won't authenticate these cards because we don't know if they're legit, who really put them out. Right. And it was flattering to find out from my friend who now works for PSA, got a job there last March, said, hey, they are actively using your website to actually validate older cards. Now, if they don't exist on there, a lot of times they get rejected.
Right.
Even a price guy, like we all love Paul's price guide site. So, and he has way more stuff than we have on our site now, as far as current stuff, especially, but it's a price guide. It doesn't really authenticate anything other than it's a guide like, hey, there's these bootleg cards out there. Here's what they're worth. But who really made them? Who's the manufacturer? Who actually made them? Are they in-house? Did Ring of Honor make these? Or the Topps make these? Who made these? Yeah. So when it goes on the WTC site and these independents, getting to talk to the people who actually produce these cards, we take the job then of saying, this is a legit set. It came from GCW, whoever it is, or, PWG or whoever, these cards are, they're legit, they're real. And here's the information about them. They're standard card size. They contain bios. They're numbered to this. They were released this way. We authenticate that stuff. And I think then you get these small cards, independent cards, and these up and comers become big stars one day. Well, guess what? Now you have these little small cards. I'm going to get that thing slabbed now because I'm into grading. If that's what you're into. I want to get it graded now.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing for these independents getting in the market of using trading cards as an advertising way. It's like that. I mean, shit, here I am doing the same damn thing for our site. I've been thinking about doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
But technology now has allowed me to do this a little bit easier. And of course, during those 10 years, I've developed relationships and contacts with people. So someone as generous and kind as Kevin is agreed to help us out. It makes things great for collectors and for our site.
Like I was telling you yesterday, Tony, with all the buzz around the AEW stuff being released soon, the Joey Janela's Spring Break 3 sets that was released this past summer or 2019. They have so many of the current AEW stars in there. When AEW hits, those sets are
they're gonna go up.
They already are. I mean, they're already about $75 a deck. And I mean, when they came out, they were like $15 on high spots, I believe.
I truly believe
like JF and all those guys. I'm sorry.
I truly believe at $75 a deck, you're saying that if that is the actual average price point for those, that is still a steal for those right now.
Yeah. I think you're right. Absolutely.
I think you're absolutely right, Chuckster. I think that once the AEW set comes out, which is bad, you're really good. Man. You and I are in sync a lot lately here, Chuckster. I already have my thing going right. Nice segue. And that is going right into the AEW set. But I think you're right. Once the AEW set comes out and makes its first official release from a manufacturer, it's going to make those cards go up in value, just like those FCW cards, just like other cards out there that are like independents that all of a sudden became very valuable, which goes right into the upper deck. Nothing's been officially announced yet. There's no official announcement on upper deck, but I think we kind of know. Right? I mean, we saw the screenshot of
those photos we saw backstage. I mean, we know a set's coming out because Tony Khan has confirmed that, but we don't really know. We haven't heard any confirmation on the company other than that photo, that backstage photo we saw.
And you saw that, Carl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I don't have any contacts over at Upper Deck. I don't even believe I ever did, but I'd love to talk to somebody and find out if that's the case. Hey, I had an open invitation for Tony Khan. I tweeted a couple times like, hey, let's talk some cards, man. Come on. But no response. Shot down.
And just my personal favorite when they release, I hope they do like TriStar did back when they had the old TNA stuff. I hope they TriStar had done one called the Main Event Mafia. It was a 6 autograph card. It's really short printed. I think there was 1 to 25. That's the one I have. I'd like to see AEW do one with the Inner Circle, with all the members of the Inner Circle.
But so what, like the fold out card with all the autographs on it?
Yeah. That's what they did with the Main Event Mafia. It had like Kevin Nash, Booker T, Kurt Angle, Charnel, Scott Steiner, and Sting, I believe. Those were the 6.
I got it right behind me. I actually have a signed photo from all those guys right behind me.
So I'd like to see that done with the Inner Circle. I think that would be a neat card to chase.
Would that be something you're interested in, Carl? Because you do have a little bit of interest in other things, but would you be interested in the AEW set when it comes out?
Maybe. It's like a lot of things. I think it's one of those things where I would probably buy some just to kind of see, to me, seeing pictures is one thing, seeing the mock-up, seeing all that is, but finally, we would say crack wax back in the day, but to finally, open a few packs and just actually touch them in my hands, if you will, that's going to determine, do I want to chase the set? Do I only want to chase certain people? Do I want to focus on this, that, or the other? And it's also going to depend, like, as we talked about earlier, Topps has killed us with parallels, and you have to wonder whether it be Upper Deck or whether it be someone else. If they're going to make parallels to everything under the sun, that I'm not going to screw with it. I'll snipe what I want off eBay. The particular athletes or the particular performers that I really like, and I'm sure there'll be some in the house in some form or fashion.
You'll have some, so you won't be completely without them.
I will not be eliteless.
So let's all assume, based on the picture we saw, that it is Upper Deck because someone zoomed in on the logo and you see it's got the Upper Deck logo on those stickers, which right off the bat is a turnoff for me because it's going to be stickered. But I get the desire for stickers. Trust me, I totally get the reasoning behind it. But do you think Upper Deck's the right company? Is it a good thing, bad thing? I mean, you would know probably a lot more than Carl because you do collect a lot across the board. And I'm old school too because I collect those first few years when Upper Deck got in the game with baseball, 89, 90, 91, I collected. That was the last time I collected sports.
I used to be a huge Upper Deck fan. Again, going back to 89 baseball. Of course, everybody's chasing the Griffey.
Griffey, yeah.
Even in 89, we were chasing the Griffey. Let's just be honest. I had a falling out with Upper Deck in 2000. The last year they made NASCAR, they pissed off a lot of NASCAR fans.
Why?
They had I'll tell you the story. I'll try to be brief because this is not wrestling. They had a mock-up. One of the things they had was, their teammates. So they would have the single autograph. That'd be the two teammates, maybe, might be the teammates and the owner for different levels of autographs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, their main mock-up was Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte. Go to open a pack and I hit the redemption card for it. Great. And we had already heard, a lot of us had already heard that they were having problems with certain athletes signing, because these were not stickered. These were all on card. And I went to my local card shop where I actually hit the pack and said, look, I know you guys are close with Upper Deck. Can you guys, are they going to be able to redeem it? Because at the time where I lived, I was going to see Tony and Bobby, I mean, within weeks of hitting this. I said,
just send me the product. I'll get it signed for you.
And I said, I'll tear the sticker off. I'll give them to sign the thing myself. And it's never going to go anywhere because I'm, I was a Stewart super collector, whatever. Oh, they assure us that we have them in hand. I sent it off. They never had them. And for the longest, they used to have a thing that was like, no one, their slogan was, no one does collecting like Upper Deck, or something like that.
Something like that.
I took a Sharpie on the hat that someone had given me, but no one screws collectors like Upper Deck. But and for years I would not buy their product. Now God, that was 21 years ago now. I've softened the stance a little bit because of some of the product that they have been able to come out with. But I mean, that's my initial concern, I guess. I think that, however, to their credit, in the last several years, they went from having some of the problems they had 20 years ago, that they don't have those problems. I think some of the people maybe who were in place then, and now the people who are in place today, you've got better people involved.
Okay.
People are a little bit more competent. So I feel a little better if that is where they're going, which that's, again, based on the picture that we all saw. I think that if they do things correctly, if they don't flood the market, I think, don't make it uber limited, but make it accessible enough where people can get interested in it, but don't flood the market with it. If they can do that, I think it could be very, very successful, not just from the collector standpoint, but I think from a long-term investment standpoint, even if you want to look at that aspect,
Well, as a manufacturer standpoint, all Upper Deck would care about, as long as that product left their warehouse into the distributor's warehouse, it's a sellout to them. This is why, I've never been able to get a manufacturer to want to agree to do any kind of advertising with WTC, because they don't care as long as their product sells, which I don't blame them. That's what I get it. I totally get it. So I'm not talking bad about them by any means.
Yeah.
So it becomes now going from the distributor into the retailers into the consumer's hands like that. So I think I agree. I just don't want them to overflood it. So I'm definitely going to be probably buying at least a case of it, just because I want to have it.
Sure.
And I don't know, just because it's the first time.
TriStar, when they were just making the TNA stuff, they would actually, on their sales sheets at the time, they would put out the number of cases they were going to make.
Exactly.
We are only making 200 cases of this product or whatever. Right. And once they were gone, they were gone. So you knew you had a limited amount of time and a limited supply of those cards.
Which was funny, because you could do math, but you need all the variables where you can actually do the math. So they would tell you 200 cases, but they don't tell you, is it an 8-box case, 12-box case, 20-box case, 50, they don't tell you, so you have no idea. And they would have multiples, like, well, these are going to our mass. These are mass retail ones. That's 20-box cases. Right. These go to hobby. So these are 10-box cases. Right. So you really didn't know.
And I do know that TriStar, on some of not all their product, but some of the product, I know some of the stuff that was hobby exclusive, they even individually numbered the boxes.
Correct. That first TriStar product that came out, Pacific product that came out, they were all numbered. Right. They had the seal on it, numbered.
Yep. Somewhere I probably got an empty box when they did the TNA knockout set, and I know those boxes were individually numbered.
Yep,
they were. And then when they did the I'm trying to remember what set it was. They had it's the first set that I think it was that it was one that they released that had the OBAC cards in. I can't a subset of OBACs. They took like I think it was like 200 cases and gave them to a card convention, and you could only get those cases at that card convention.
Right. I believe it was the National Sports Convention.
It was the National, yeah.
And they have the OBAC cards that were in them weren't in the nationally distributed sets. I got all those. I mean, it was hard to get, but I got all. There was like 8 or 9 of them.
Yeah.
And So if they only had 200 boxes and there was 9 autograph cards throughout those, really wasn't that many full sets.
No.
Yeah.
And all, because you'd have to break down, how many Hogans and how many Foleys and different ones. But
Right.
yeah, they were hard to get, but I got them all. That was a tough job.
We know what would take for Upper Deck to really screw the pooch on it if they did it. This thing. What do you? If they are, we're going to keep going, assuming that this is who has a license, is Upper Deck, until otherwise notified. What about it? What could they do that would be exciting, you think?
I think, again, I know with it being the stickers, it's gonna kind of take some of the shine off, obviously, hitting some of the autographs. But I think if they had some things inserted that dealt with maybe, I'm not saying you do this even when a case, but tickets to a TV taping, and what's this COVID thing?
Sure.
Maybe the shirt off. Again, maybe it's a shirt off someone's back instead of just the swatch.
Yeah.
Someone wins the shirt off of someone's back.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, TriStar did the baseballs. Remember that?
Exactly.
TriStar did those baseballs, autograph baseballs. Forgot about that. Yeah.
Something like that that's different, that is going to want to make me the collector and you the collector rip packs. Something something to chase that's not just a number parallel.
I would like for them to limit the autographs as far as I don't want them to blow their entire wad of all their talent in one set.
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing. It's like, what's the follow up? I get another Jericho autograph. I get another, whoever. What's the point? Split it up. Hey, I hope such and such is in series 2. I hope such and such in series 3.
And I think
the last set of TNA that they put out, the 2013 Glory. Yeah. Most of their autographs were stickers. However, they did 18 on-card autographs that were harder to get, and they were all paralleled in like 4 or 5 different parallels.
Right.
So you had a chance of getting a sticker or an on-card. And I've chased the on-cards more so than I did the stickers, because again, everybody had a sticker at that time. But I wanted those on-cards. I got a Hogan, I got a Sting, I got several Kurt Angles, and then they took the ring mats, numbered them, and had them sign on the ring mat, and I got all of them also. And there was actually one variant on those when Bubba Ray was the world champion back in 13. He signed one, Bubba Ray WHC 13. He signed another one that a lot of people haven't seen, Bubba Ray A's and Eights.
Yep.
When he was the leader of that's the only variant in those that came out, but that was a fun chase. I got all of those.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a little bit about the last TNA Impact set. I kind of took it off my list because Adam Impact was going to be with us and talk about it, but he had a last minute schedule change in work, so he couldn't be with us. And he's like Mr. TNA Impact guy. So
he is.
But speaking of them with Impact, and I'm going to go back to the indie stuff and tie it all together with the Upper Deck stuff. When I talked with Heath, with all this inter-promotional stuff going on with Impact and AEW, some potential New Japan, that kind of stuff. I think we all wish, how cool would it be to have like trading cards that encompasses all that in one set? Because they do it all in Japan sets. Japan doesn't really, they don't focus on one particular, they don't focus on one organization. They kind of have it all kind of meshed together.
Right.
But us as fans go, that'd be so cool. But I think on the back end, we don't look at it going, well, the legal stuff that has to go on between Impact and this and that. I think it'd be cool to do that.
Yeah.
Do you think a crossover could be possible, Carl?
I would love to see it. I don't. Why can't they? Because they do it in Japan. Why can't it be done in America?
That to me is the same thing. You look at the folks who have been successful in Japan with that, and almost not every, but the majority of the Japanese sets are cross promotion. I think that if you could do it in a way where, I'm sure like you were saying, whoever's got to do all the legal work on that, you would talk about a pain in the ass. That'd be a pain in the ass. But as the fan, as the collector, as the consumer, that would get me mega excited. Because to me, not only could you possibly get, let's just say, Rosemary from Impact, but you might also be getting, one of the elite. I mean, the inner circle from AEW, and
But
in the same
it's such a
pack.
cool thing. I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
I think it really draw people into like, wow, this is kind of cool. But anybody could probably do it. I mean, here's Tony Khan. He's made a lot of things
Yeah,
happen that we never thought could happen.
Yeah. And I mean, you even look at some of the work that they did earlier with NWA, where they
Correct.
brought in Thunder Rosa,
Mhm.
for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got my attention there.
That's what I'm saying. But I mean, to me,
You would-
if there could be a set like that,
Yeah.
whether it be Upper Deck, whether it be whoever, and to be able to tie all those groups together and under one, one box of cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where,
And they've been
that
working
could
with
be-
NWA too. The
Absolutely.
AEW's been working with NWA too.
Yeah. That's what
Absolutely.
you're saying.
And look at all those people. I don't know if you watch AEW, but this past Wednesday night they did the kind of a semi reunion of the Bullet Club. Some guys from Impact, the Good Brothers, Anderson,
right.
Gallows, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. They all kind of did the two sweet and got back together. And if they're talking about inter promotion with New Japan, can you imagine those guys from New Japan that was Bullet Club and making a set of just from Impact, AEW, New
That could be
Japan?
cool.
I mean, the
Yeah, that
potential
would
is very crazy there, and it'd be fun
Yeah.
to see. But again, licensing rights and issues always come into play, and it would be difficult to do. But again, if anybody can do it, my faith is in Tony Khan to make it happen.
Absolutely.
I mean, he can make that kind of shit happen. So, is there anything else, kind of not giving away from that? Is there anything else going on in the hobby right now that excites you guys at all? Like whether it's be collecting old school stuff, new stuff. Like, is there anything like? What are you pursuing right now, Carl? Like, what is like number one on your list to get? Wrestling card.
I'm trying to find more variations because I think they exist on the 88 Wonderama. I know that there are a couple back variations that I personally own. If there's at least two, there's got to be at least three. If that makes any sense. And it's minor variation, but it's a variation.
Well, if you do find variations, you got to let us know because I think we've covered every variation there is on WTC.
And do you have the five error cards that was put in?
Oh, those are easy.
Those are easy.
5 error cards are easy.
I mean, you get those with a factory set.
Yeah, those are easy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The difficult one is there, and it's not big name guys. On the backs, it's one of the bio backs where most of them has the red dot. They aren't red dots; they're blue dots. But all the other is in blue, and those are very tough. And I think I've got two different ones. Maybe I'll send you a picture.
Yeah, I like to see pictures of them like that.
I'll send you a picture of both of them together, even.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But there may be a couple other variations too that I hear rumors of from time to time. But I think there's probably a couple more back variations. Again, and I don't know if it's a printing thing. I do know that when I was buying those packs back in '88, that the initial run, the first couple boxes that I end up finding at local stores and the like, the only cards we ever found were the first 150 cards. You would not find any card numbered above 150, or even the checklist numbered above 150. And then later, I was able to buy some boxes off eBay and all this, and that's, how
I sold the only box I had years ago.
Yeah. But I think there's probably a couple other variations. So I'm chasing stuff like that because that excites me. I'm kind of going back and, I'm going to pick some random set, just try to start working on. Probably, I'm thinking about trying to work on a Parkhurst set, just because I like a challenge. And
why not? You need to talk to Rob England on that one.
Oh, me and Rob have talked. me and Rob have actually talked a couple times. The other thing I'm doing, which is kind of a pet project, and it's not even something I'm overly serious about, but is I've worked on getting a second set of the NWA Supercards and having them, the ones guys who are still alive, of course, having them sign them. I'm the guy who's got the Road Warrior signed by Hulk.
I saw that.
That to me is my Grail wrestling card because I was a big Road Warrior fan.
I mean, I have a factory set. I have the test run set as well, and but I got a ton of singles.
I know the test run set was one that I've had in the past. I've actually sold them all off because they didn't mean anything to me. I know it's gonna sound weird.
That's weird. It is kind of weird.
Just like you were saying, how we go through different phases of life.
Yeah.
When I got divorced from my first wife, I sold a bunch of crap. And it was because I mean, I've lived now in 8 states, most of which has been 6 of which are as an adult. And you get to a point where you've got so much crap and, you get tired of, throwing everything in the largest U-Haul that they make and realizing that half of it is your collection.
Yeah. Chuckster, you know a little bit about that.
Unfortunately,
you and I both. I mean, I went from a 10 by 30 to a 10 by 20 to a 10 by 10. I finally got all moved out of California here in Arizona. I'm in a 10 by 5 now. It's crammed, but it's in there. And
I collected not only cards, I collected action figures and magazines. And I just recently, I'm in the process of selling my house, and all of my figures went into storage. And I have well over 1,000, and we're talking vintage, still in the packs. So
LJNs, Remco, stuff like that.
Yeah, Remco. Yeah, Remco's.
Love Remco's.
Yeah. And but anyway, I found a guy up in Pittsburgh. He's gonna take it all off my hands. I hate to part with it. It's kind of like losing a child, because I've been working on I've been in retail for over 40 years, and I had access to a lot of that stuff. And I just have no way to display it. And it's a shame to keep it in storage and let it just sit there when a new collector can have their hands on it, and somebody that knows what it is and wants to enjoy it. So I'm unfortunately at 62 years old, I'm letting go of this 40-year collection, and it's tough.
Here you go, Timmy. Here's a little old Hulk Hogan figure. Go ahead and play with it. Don't open it.
Yeah, that's my fear.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna open it. But,
no, it's Jim Mint.
It's Jim Mint. Wow.
Wait. It's Mint on card.
Mint on card. Yeah, it's MOC. What about
out of print?
what about you, Chuckster? Is there anything that you're? I know we've talked before, it's like that because you're kind of limited on income right now for stuff like that, like we all are. But are you pursuing anything in particular?
As far as older stuff, I'm trying to complete one parallel set for the 2010 Platinum. I'm trying to.
That's right. That's your bread.
Gold and one blue. I need one blue Kelly. Anybody has it? I say this on every show. Let me know. Get me a hold of the blue. The blue parallel of Kelly.
I know you and Paul want to have a set release breakdown on that one. I know.
Yeah, and other than that, the next thing I'm going to do is, because of Carl, like you mentioned, Top just going overboard with everything. I am just so done with Tops, other than the Tops Now product I love. But I'm just going to start looking behind the scenes and finding those old indie stuff. That's my passion right now, is to go after the indie stuff, because that just kind of excites me. Because I said, with this spring break stuff, I found MJF in it. I found Marco Stunt is in it. All the new up and coming guys that are in AEW now were in this little indie show. Yeah. That just excites me, and I want to go after more of that and find all the little regional stuff that's out there. That's my goal, is to hunt, other than finishing that 2010 set. So,
hey, you guys, neither one. I know for Chuckster, you're not really into the grading like that, and I'm getting into it now. But what about you, Carl? You ever doing the grading stuff?
I have dabbled just a little bit in it, and it's something that I'm actually contemplating doing some more of this coming year. I've got a few 82 All-Stars that I'm at a point now in my life, if I come across any 82 All-Stars at all, I think they all ought to be graded.
I was just asking, I haven't talked to David Peck about it yet, but I already know what his answer is going to be. So, but I got,
grade them.
Yeah, I got him sitting right behind the curtain here. It's like that. I got all 3 sets sitting behind me. But it's missing the Hogan and the Flair and the Andre, which I sold years ago. But it's like, is it even worth getting the rest of these graded? Because they all, some have a little ding in the corner and it's not. But I think he's right. I think I'm gonna get them all graded. I'm just gonna get them all graded.
I set up sometimes, and I haven't been able to do it much lately because of COVID and all this. Some shows over in Atlanta, the Atlanta area, because I'm about 2 hours from Atlanta. My brother lives in Atlanta, and it's North Cobb. They have them twice a month. But anyway, one of the other dealers who sets up there, he's got, and I want to say they probably graded about a 5 or 6. And this was like a year ago, and we were trying to work a deal for him. And I mean, he was looking to get like $80 a piece.
Wow.
Like I said, almost a year and a half ago now. And they weren't even the
Wow.
big names. We're
I
not
got
even,
I got everybody else sitting behind me except for those three.
and that's what I'm saying. I mean, even as long as they're grading 5 or higher, look on eBay.
Yeah, they're all going to be 5s or higher for sure.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Anything 5 or higher right now is pretty strong with the 82s.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already kind of convinced myself I'm going to do it, but with income, I'm waiting for my first batch to come in to hope to make some sales and use the money from that to further more and more and more. So I sent in a whole bunch of those. What I had of those was it 82? I had a Hogan and Flair from the the Japanese ones, little mini ones like that. I found some of those in storage, so I sent those off, and I'm hoping to get some decent grades out of those, and I'll just sell them and move on to something else.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm probably this year, I mean, I've got a few stuff that are graded, but most of the things I've got graded right now, I don't think I have any wrestling graded at all. I don't think, no. Most of what I got are stick and ball stuff, but I think that seeing some of the numbers that I'm seeing, you look at Rob England and the stuff that he's talking about, and some of the things how excited he is on some of this.
Yep.
And quite frankly, his excitement is very infectious.
It is.
And not just from not even just from a dollar and cent standpoint, but from hey, these are a lot harder than people realize.
Yep.
When you look at 1982, anything else that was produced, and you look at the numbers, and the numbers just when you look at all the baseball stuff and the football stuff and the basketball stuff and whatever, and then you look at the wrestling, and the numbers are there's a huge disproportion there.
Yeah.
So because of that, I think that things like the 82 set, things like the 85 OPG, for example, the WWF, the Canadian set, there was just some really cool cards in that.
Yep.
The Wonderamas, of course, even the 87 tops in OPG.
Yep.
And even though that back then, I mean, that was a dumped product.
Yeah. All that stuff was dumped product. Even your Star Wars was all dumped product.
Yeah. But the point being, you look at all that, and the numbers, when you compare it to everything else, some of which are still getting premium dollars in high grade. Again, the population reports, or where they call them, when they finally, when people really start digging into the real numbers, I think they're going to be very surprised pleasantly to see that, hey, this stuff's good stuff.
Well, it's getting that kind of notoriety. It's like that when you have the David Pecks and the Rob Englands of the world who have been proponents for that stuff for many, many years. Then you get a guy like, the king of entrepreneurs, Mr. Gary Vee out there, promoting stuff all the time when it comes to certain cards. Just him even talking about a particular car all of a sudden drives that price up. So it's definitely, I've always treated trading cards, even in my collecting days, I always treated trading cards as stock. It's what it is. It's basically stock, when to buy, when to sell. And I primarily dealt in non-sports. So when Buffy was popular and Xena was popular, I would say Rittenhouse got into the games like that, started doing Twilight Zone and Bond stuff. I was like, buy it now, sell it quick. This is what you want to invest in. I had guys come to the store, the shop at Frank & Son Collectibles in California I used to be at all the time, coming over saying, hey, Tony, how's my non-sport broker doing, man? I mean, I'd work for this guy and I'd help him buy it and sell. I mean, it was just crazy. I'm like, I wish I had your money, man, because I'd be buying all my stuff myself. But it's where we're at now. We're at that now point where, it's a good commodity to have as part of your portfolio is trading cards. And wrestling is not going to be baseball. It's not going to be football or basketball dollar wise, I think. Not for a long time anyways, but it's growing.
And I know you guys have talked about it. I know I've probably typed in a few times about, the stuff with that game card that The Rock's on.
Yeah.
And you look at the numbers that's bringing, and what I have noticed is that guys who normally have never bought a wrestling card in their life, all of a sudden are paying attention.
Of course. Yep.
Some of the stick and ball guys are paying attention now.
Yep.
And I think we're going to see probably in 2021, we're going to see more guys and gals from the traditional sports start really bringing some money into the wrestling trading card aspect.
Hell, I was saying people even non-sports are going into Pokemon, for Christ's sake, and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going into that avenue because it's an investment.
Exactly. And you see, and I know I'm also in a Star Wars group, and some of the excitement that some of the newer sets and the higher dollar sets are starting to bring with guys who would never thought about getting anything graded in their life.
Yep.
But because there's this autograph or this sketch card, I think that's the big thing now there. And cards that again normally maybe 40, 50 bucks are now going for 300 and 400, 500 ungraded.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because again, there's guys who are coming in, they're seeing what's happening in the wrestling, what's happening in some of these other, card collecting communities. And they're really, I mean, it's definitely reinvigorating.
I guess, you're looking, if you're treating them like stock, you're looking to diversify your portfolio by just getting into other things, and that's just where you're going to go. I mean,
Absolutely.
and you got to go and do your homework. I have Xan on all the times like that. We talk, and by the way, we have some special plans coming up. Xan and I do. He's very smart in doing his homework about pricing and what's hot and what's not and kind of thing. So, I mean, he may not be a fan of, like, say, Pokemon. I think he is. I don't know. But, he knows what to buy because he's done his homework on it. And so a lot of these guys come in here and start dumping money in these different genres they're not familiar with. And it's going to drive the prices up. Maybe it's falsely done. I'm not sure. But there's others who are getting into it going, listen, you know what? There's some value here in this wrestling stuff. I think I'm going to buy me a Hulk Hogan card. Maybe that John Cena card from 2002 Royal Rumble is worth getting into now because, he's kind of a big deal.
Right.
Who do you think is the next big breakout in the collector? We've got the Hogans and we've got the Rocks. Rock's really big right now. Who's going to be the next one from the old school to really take off?
It's that to me, it's 02. It's going to be 02 Royal Rumble. That's got one of the freshest, nicest rookies in there. You've got Orton, you've got Batista, you've got Cena, and you've got Lesnar. I mean, that price, and it pains me because I had so much of that. And I sold those base. I couldn't get rid of them for $10 a set.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard.
What mine went for.
It was hard to sell. And now all I have is what I have left, which is my own personal set. That's it. And I wish I had them all. I would have stripped every one of those damn things out of there. Those cards are getting good money.
Yeah.
Now, one of the current female stars right now that was my number one for quite a while until just recently. She dropped to the number 2 position. That's been Tessa Blanchard. Big fan of hers. And PCW Ultra out in California was releasing a little indie set at their shows, like $5 a card. And when the shutdowns happened, they took all their cards, they put them on their website. They only made 200 of each. And they are sharp looking cards. If there's any left, for $5 for this Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, that's really nice. That's a nice looking card.
That's a nice looking card.
Let's see the back.
And she's a heck of an athlete. I mean, she's incredible.
And there's only right now, I think there's only like 9, 10, 11. I got like 12. They got a Road Warrior in there.
How many cards in the set?
Right now, there's only 9 because they sold them individually. It's not as a set. You had to buy them individually.
Okay.
Right now, they only have, there's those 9. And
are all 9 of those still available?
They were the last I looked.
Okay.
And they only made 200 of each one.
Okay.
And then there's the last 2.
Okay.
I'll pass them.
But this is just a really nice looking set. And I think that Tessa Blanchard, a lot of people don't know about. I'm surprised that at $5 a piece and only 200 of them, there's even still any of hers left, or there was the last time I looked. I mean, that because she's just going to be, to me, she's an up and comer, and she only, I can't say she slipped the number 2, maybe 1A,
1A
or 1B, you know who my A was. And then a guy that's on Twitter with us right now, Retro Sketch. He did a set where he took Masters of the Universe, crossed them over with wrestlers, and made a Wrestlers of the Universe comic set. And they're pretty sharp.
Okay. That's Bam, bam, bam.
It's just a fun set. I mean, it's not going to be worth anything.
Funny.
It's fun to have. And then they have puzzle on the
back.
back.
That is so cool. He-Man.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
He's still got those available. You can still get them from him. Retro Sketch was on Twitter.
But don't you find that to be too much as well? I mean, there's so much of it out there now to go after all that. It's like you gather all the indie stuff and you put it into your shopping cart. And doesn't that really kind of equal to all the stuff that's all Topps is putting out? I mean,
no, because I can complete that set. I don't have to chase those
I-
parallels.
I understood you can complete it. I understand you can complete it, but the money wise, it's still like you're paying, anywhere from $5 per card to $30 for a set to $20 for a set. I mean, and there's like 50 of them. That adds up.
Yeah, but if you want to do it, I said finest, I paid $100 a box, and I didn't even get a quarter of a set out of that. I'd have to buy 4 or 5 boxes to get a full set of finest. So, and it kind of evens out. And you're getting more. You're getting a wider variety. You're getting
Diversify. You're diversified.
Diversified.
Exactly. So.
Diversifying. Yeah, I was asking about grading though, because and I guess I'll save it for another time. But they announced, CGS just announced, obviously is getting in the game, or is it CGS? Is it CGS? The comic book graders.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
They just announced a couple days ago that they're looking to launch next month. Will be their card grading service, and they snagged 2 guys from Beckett who are doing it for them. It's like that, and the buzz is pretty decent about it. I mean, there's room, obviously, with PSA being,
Absolutely.
about 2 million plus cars behind schedule.
Yeah. And Beckett's not much better.
That's what I hear. I've never
everybody's backed up.
But
stuff that normally was taking 2 weeks and 3, a month, is now taking like 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Sometimes.
Yeah. So I don't anticipate getting my submission I sent a month and a half ago until like probably end of summer.
Yeah. You're probably right.
I'm probably right. Yeah. But I'm interested in. I wanted to get some opinions from people who get grades. So it might be a David Peck and a Rob England type of conversation to have to talk about these different grading companies. I mean, they're PSA lovers. PSA is the one that actually,
they kind of started it. They kind of started. They're kind of like the gold standard, if you will. I mean, they are Beckett.
Which is funny because JSA was really the ones who started that.
JSA, they only get,
and they're going to get involved in the grading service now too.
See now, and that's okay. I have such mixed feelings about everybody right now. I mean, PSA, they are who they are. Okay, again, they are the gold standard, and unfortunately, with some of the, what's the right word? There's been some accusations made that they've graded some things that have been trimmed and bleached and all.
Yeah, and I've heard those stories too. And
this is stuff from the 1900s, early 1900s. We're not talking anything modern. That there have been, things that there really was not a set standard size. There were some of these cats are doing some of the, so they've had to deal with that. Then they say, well, if I'm doing sports cards, I want to use these guys. If I'm using non-sports, I want to use these guys. I know, like the Star Wars community, they're big Beckett guys because of Steve Grad, who you see on Pawn Stars, is one of the autograph experts. He big super Star Wars fans, and the Star Wars community, they'll flock to Beckett instead of flocking to PSA because of that. Then you get into the whole JSA. JSA is great, in my opinion, when it comes to authenticating.
Authenticating. I just had them all the diesel pops authenticated last Saturday.
They're great when it comes to, again, sports and even the wrestling, autographs. But then you hear, oh yeah, but they're terrible on this. It just, and my thing is, PSA, if they actually grade something that's not right, I mean, how often does that really happen?
I don't have any proof, and anybody else, they don't have any proof. But if you go look at the announcement from 2 days ago, I think it was for CGS, they had a nice article, and they actually, part of it is a transparency. People want transparency in the business like that on how are you grading your stuff, and what makes a 10 a 10 and this or that. And I think if you go to that article that was up there, you can find it on Twitter. It's like that, and I'm sure it's everywhere else. They have a breakdown on how they grade their stuff. And they're using all this high-tech stuff, this infrared and and they're using all this that's what they say they're doing.
Yeah.
But they are, that seems
that's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive.
And they are the gold standard when it comes to comic books.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they are. And my thing is, if they're getting into the card grading, if they're using that, if they use that,
they do have some validity in their their domain of comics, and you can bring that credibility over into cards. I mean, I do plan on, I made this decision yesterday after reading the article. I was talking to my wife about it. I do plan on sending a small batch into their service to see how it is.
Sure. Give it a
What can it
shot.
hurt? It's slabbed.
Yeah.
It's graded.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't hurt. I mean, and their price point is the same as everybody else's. I mean, you get an $8 bulk if you want to for certain things. Otherwise, it's like $12. You know, I mean, same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's worth a shot. I mean, and that may be something I'll look into now, because like I said, this year is something that I have some things that need to be graded, quite frankly.
What about for Chuckster? What about you? What prevents someone like you who's a collector, but why don't you want to get some of your nice pieces graded?
It's to me, it's all, I just don't have any interest to do it. I don't know why. I just don't have the interest. To me, I'm just collecting for the fun of collecting. Yeah. To me, I like to just pull out a set, pull out an album, flip through it. It's the nostalgia and just, for me, it's just the fun of collecting.
Well, who's getting your cards? Who's getting all your cards when you depart this earth?
Well, that'll be up to whoever takes care of my my final. I really haven't determined that.
Well, I'm available to help you out with anything planning you need, sir.
You'd have to rent a U-Haul.
I don't care. For your collection, it's worth me flying out. I got miles.
It's probably worth the U-Haul.
I've got frequent flyer miles. I'll fly there and drive back. I don't give a shit.
There you go.
That's why that guy's driving down from Pittsburgh tomorrow to take all those wrestling figs.
So in the meantime, we'll talk about it, and we'll put that in there, and just get a few things graded for me.
I mean, and I know we say that, but I mean, in my case, I mean, I've got 2 great stepkids, and I've also got my baby brother's got a couple kids, niece and nephew, and I know that whenever I do pass, my wife, she's probably going to be like, I don't want this crap around, and the fact is, I know a lot of the monies that will go from that stuff being sold are going to be divided between my stepkids, nephew, and et cetera. And for me, even though and I don't disagree with you, Chuckster, because there was a time in my life, if you said, "Oh, let's get this graded," I'd tell you to take a long walk off a short pier, because again, for me, it was not about long-term investment. It was about enjoying whatever it was, whether it be wrestling, baseball, whatever. I guess now, the older I get, for me, 20 years later, whatever, it's kind of like maybe I'm viewing things a little different now. I mean, but that's why some of that is why I guess I'm leaning toward that direction, and things that to me, yes, it still means something.
Yeah, when I was a kid, the last thing on my mind was buying something just to get money off of.
Oh, absolutely.
When I was a kid, it was buying it to, oh, cool, I'm the only one on the block that has this. And I kind of still have that excitement as a kid. Yeah. Yeah. And to me, I just, when I have a company or something, like, oh, wait, let me show you this. And I can pull out the album and flip through it. We can just kind of sit and reminisce and have fun. And
it's always the thing when I have Chuckster on, he wants to know what we're talking about. So so I can go to my stuff and pull it out when it's like, in case we want to show it.
Yeah.
Which was kind of,
but
that's what was kind of cool about talking with Heath. I mean, he was so happy to go find that box of his cards and pull out that binder that he wrote wrestling cards on it. And he had a good time with it.
Yeah, he did. And I don't know if you've seen my page or not on Twitter, but I've got tons of stuff I've posted on there. It's
not only you have your original post, you have your your typo correction post right afterwards too. So.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, I screwed that up here. I could just delete it and redo it, but I'm not gonna.
Well, just having a nice conversation. That's what the roundtable talks are for now. I mean, I know in the past a couple of times we've actually had where we had like subjects to talk about, but I think the roundtables are better off just having sort of a free form, just random talk about trading cards as a whole. If we want to talk about a set, we talk about a set. We want to talk about the industry, we talk about the industry, the hobby as a whole, whatever. But it's nice to have just a couple of people on and talk about just anything that has to do with wrestling trading cards.
Absolutely.
I think going forward, it's kind of be the format for this, where we have just shoot the shit kind of thing of cards. We'll have our conversation specifically about something. So, the next one I'll probably be talking about, hopefully soon I'll be talking about, I'll do my shameless plug now, but we're going to be talking about, the wonderful Kevin Nash autograph card Still a few left, guys. Still a few left. 101 sold out. Number to 5 sold out. Almost number 10s, and there's a few left in number 25s, and got plenty of the base cards. Only going to be, when you think about it, when you get an autograph card, no matter what level of tier you get, you also get a base card.
Very
So
cool.
half the run basically for the base cards goes towards people who bought autographs. So only half of what's left is going to be available to buy as a base card. And I did lower it from $10 to $5, but if you don't care about autographs, you want a card, you want to help WTC out, just,
Very
you know,
cool.
donate any amount, you're going to get a card. Hell, you can say, you know what, I'm donating, I don't even want a card. I still feel bad about that. That's why I decided I want to do a card. I just want to say, hey, give us some money so we can go ahead and fund our site. I mean, it's still for a good cause, but I feel like something should be given back in return.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's sparked my interest because making the cards has been a 10-year thing I've been wanting to do for a long, long time. And now with connections and this, that, and technology, of course, I'm like, maybe I will do like 1 or 2, maybe 3 a year. You know, so already talking about the next possible one. You saw Heath wants to be on one. So I
Very
gotta
cool.
talk to the artist and say, hey, you mind whipping me up a Heath painting or something like that? But this particular painting, by the way, this painting wasn't commissioned by me specifically for this. This painting was originally done for the Wrestling Guy store in California, in Los Angeles. When I booked Kevin in February of 2019, Kevin was the 6-year anniversary. I think it was 6-year anniversary. He was a 6-year anniversary guest for the store. And the artist does, they have a thing there called the Ceiling of Fame, where they pop out the board from the ceiling and replace it with a new board that he drew, and the talent would sign it. And it goes up on the board for everybody who's been to the store signing. He did that, which he usually does in a Sharpie, like first thing in that morning. Boom, boom. It's like, oh, he's going to be there in an hour. Let me whip this up. Draws a painting real quick. Does it real quick. But the painting he did the night before, and I don't believe this one's in the ceiling. I think he did this one for himself. And so he took a picture of it before he had him sign it. And then this is what I used it for.
Okay, cool.
So I'd have to have him do that, like a painting. I don't want a Sharpie version of it. I want a nice painting version done. And, you know, I'll pay him whatever it is he wants for it. Then I promote him. And if you want to buy the actual artwork, you can get it from him, the original. And he's not expensive. He should be, but he's not. But we'll do some more in the future. So autographs, things like that. The money will probably mostly come in to help fund things for WTC, to maybe little cool things, and who knows? I don't know. It's not a money making endeavor for me in that respect. I do have part of this print run, which I have not revealed. I'm going to reveal right now for the first time. I do have a special version of the card that will be made available later for certain things, whether it be a giveaway, to entice people to want to follow our Twitter page. You know, hey, once we hit 300 followers, boom, you know, kind of thing. And something I'm going to be doing with Zan. So we actually have a thing. I think you guys might be following him on Twitter already. You guys already follow Zan. Have you guys followed a thing called Worlds Collide?
No.
I think you have, Chuckster. I saw your
Yes,
tweet.
I did last night after you told me about it. You're right. I did last night after you told me about it.
I go follow that because there'll be a nice new podcast coming out called Worlds Collide.
Very cool.
But be available not just like through this, but we'll be doing this version of it, but it'll be available on all kinds of streaming services. But just to increase people's knowledge of the hobby. It'll be fun. So I hope everybody's checks it out. And that's all I got for today, guys. That's all I got. Anything else anybody want to talk about? No.
Who dat comes Sunday, we're going to beat the Bears.
They're playing Green Bay, right?
No, Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Chicago and the Saints.
Saints. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Green Bay's got the bye.
Yep. No, but you know, I think the more things like this, you know, and that's the thing about WTC that I love. You know, when I first found you guys years ago, is the fact that it's a community of folks who give a crap about the hobby, who sit there and they want to make sure, hey, if there's this variation, everybody needs to know about it.
Sure.
That people give a crap. And at the end of the day, that's huge, because I think in a lot of time, when I first started getting involved from the internet standpoint with the hobby, there was so much misinformation out there.
Yep.
There was so much, oh, this is this and this is that. And you're like, no, it's not. I've got this. This is like 5 years before this. That can't be their first card.
Yep.
He's got a card in this, and when the fact that WTC is such a great resource that allows collectors to sit there and go, and hey, wow, so that's the card that, no one's ever checklisted this. This is so cool. And some of the notes you guys
adding information in the info section about variants and where it was released, and it has a UPC code on it.
Absolutely.
I mean, my whole intent with that from the beginning was I just wanted, to me, too much information wasn't a bad thing.
There's no such thing as too much information.
Correct. Right. And so if I wanted to tell you that, hey, this is the UPC number on a blaster pack, I'm going to put it on there so you can kind of, I wanted everything. I wanted to know everything about that set, everything. Right. When I found out that those Sable autograph cards were not signed by Sable, but it's signed by her sister, I was like, I want to know about that. I didn't know about that.
Which is funny, because back in the day when those were first coming out, I actually hit the Sable. And I used to set up, when I lived in West Virginia, I used to set up at flea markets and shows and all this. And I can remember I ended up selling that for a lot less than I should have at the time. And then when I found out that she didn't really sign, I was like, yes,
winning.
Yes.
Because you could find, you find the signature versions, and there was a bunch of blanks you could find as well, because I don't think she signed them all. So and the first I actually got wind of that was through X-Pac, I think. I think he's the one who mentioned it. And then I contacted Comic Image at the time, and he's like, I've heard those rumors, but I don't know. I go, okay. You not validating it just tells me all I need to know.
And how you did not. I brought this up with Tony last night when we were talking off screen here. The wrestling card collecting niche has really been a very male dominated hobby. And I'm thinking with so much now, the women's wrestlers have just really taken off and really became wrestlers instead of just the eye candy that they used to be. And I was really surprised that not more women are into the hobby these days. I think trying to get this information out and hopefully get the eye of some of the female collectors, I think that would be really great for the hobby too.
I remember over the years going to WTC forums, somebody had posts on there. I remember I popped really hard for it, where someone was a girl, she was a female collector. I go, holy shit, there's actually that's just awesome. We're all your friends. Have them all come over and check it out, But I can't remember who that was, but they're far and few between, man. They're like unicorns.
The shows I've set up in Atlanta, it's interesting because while for the most part, guys are the ones who attend shows like that to begin with, any cards for that matter.
Yeah.
I'd actually noticed the last couple of times I set up that where some of the boyfriends or the husbands or whatever would be gravitating some of the sports cards I might have. Some of the women folks were the ones who were checking out the wrestling cards.
Nice.
And I gave them, let's just say, I go, for you, special price today.
Yeah, special price.
Just to get them involved.
Yep.
Because to me, the more people who are involved in the hobby, it's better off for everybody.
Absolutely. And I think also getting them while they're younger too, because the series that I'm doing right now about people who collect wrestling but don't collect wrestling cards, that it also kind of stems with getting the kids involved in it and letting them know about that, because they know about Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. They may even know about their baseball and basketball, stuff like that. But why don't they collect wrestling cards? And I think it's to educate them and get them to want to get the new generation coming through to collect cards like that.
Absolutely.
And I like to see a lot of the girls getting into it. I think there's a lot of female fans out there, so they should be. I don't know why they're not getting into cards too. It's I don't know.
Maybe it's because they're not as much into the sports card end of it, which the guys are, and the guys get into the sports and they see the wrestling. The women aren't collecting other sports, so they probably don't know that the wrestling is out there.
I was blown away talking to David from Wrestling Guy Store that he didn't even know wrestling cards existed until he opened his store 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Wow.
And I go, you got to be kidding me, man. Well, you know what? I converted him. He started his Daniel Bryan collection. I've been buying Daniel Bryan cards.
There you go. That was an interesting interview, by the way. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's
Yes, but-
David. I go back with David Slay. He's a great guy. He's a great store. I've booked a lot of talent there, and we've become good friends. And I wish him nothing but the best. Right now, I know that him and his wife, and then they all tested positive recently. So they're, you know, especially the wife is struggling, and I'm pulling for her. I hope she does well. It's like that.
Absolutely, man.
But you know, it's just interesting to see that someone who is so involved in the hobby of like wrestling doesn't collect cards. It's
Doesn't
like,
collect cards.
yeah.
Or didn't even know there were cards.
Didn't even know they existed.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just talked to, as I told you guys before off air, it's like that, you know, I talked to Lisa Marie Verance like that, who was victorious, like, and she's like, sends me a voice message yesterday saying, I don't know anything about trading cards. And I go, well, you know, you're on them.
You've been on several.
And she's like, I have some of my cards at my house, but you know, I don't know anything about them. So I said, it doesn't matter. I'll walk you through the questions. Don't you worry. So I'm kind of hoping to get her on as a guest to talk about maybe her and her brother, because her brother collects cards, and you know, looking for some other cool, exciting guests possibly in the future here. So I think those are
one
cool
of my
segments.
favorite cards of hers was one from TNA, one of the National Card Conventions, when she was as Tara. She had her little spider with her called Poison.
Yeah.
And she was holding her spider, and she signed the card Tara and Poison. Yeah.
That's cool.
So I got the spider's autograph.
That's cool.
That's what we gotta do. We gotta get a little pluck some little hairs off Spider and put them on the cards like that. You know, a piece of the Spider. I say that jokingly, but something very similar they did that for Japanese cards. When I was at Frankensons and I was trying to like diversify my stuff, I was getting into like, I did adult trading cards too.
Right.
And
Yep.
Japan, they had stuff
Yep.
they have a series called Juicy Honey.
Yep.
And I was the only guy in the lower 48, as they call it, that sold it in the States, because I got my stuff from a guy in Hawaii who got his stuff from Japan direct. That stuff sold big time. And they had things called DNA cards. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but I'm going to end it with that. So there's a nice image for all y'all. There you go. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys being on, and we're going to end another roundtable session here, guys.
Okay, it's been great seeing everybody again. Nice to meet you, Carl.
Well, take care.
We're out of here,
you
guys.
too. All right. Good night.